In this video, we're going to look at topic 9, example 2, write an equation in point-slope form. And remember, point-slope form is y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. So in part A, a line with a slope of 1/2, so they're telling us that m is 1/2, passes through the point 3, -2. So we have a point, remember that's xy, of 3, -2. What form can you use to write the equation of the line? What is the equation in that form? All right, so we already mentioned it. We're going to use point-slope form. Point-slope becomes very useful when we have a point and a slope. It's not very cleverly named. It's very direct. Point-slope form is for when you have a point and a slope. So your slope is pretty obvious. M is equal to 1/2. You're going to plug that in. There's not a whole lot of confusion or trickery there. You're just going to plug in whatever that slope is. And then from here, we're going to have our y value and our x value. Those will stay the same. And we're going to plug in our x1, y1. So these two coordinate points, this single coordinate point with values of x1, y1 are going to get plugged in. So x1 is, I'm going to erase some of this highlighting. x1 is a value of 3. So where x1 is, we're going to say minus 3. I'm going to use parentheses here. You'll see why in a second. And then for my y1 value, I'm going to use this -2. So I want to subtract -2, and that right there is why I'm using parentheses. So we have to be very careful with our negatives. So we wind up with y plus 2, right? We're subtracting a -2 equals 1/2 times x minus 3. And this would be our equation of the line in point-slope form. Okay, so you take your point, those are your x1, y1 values. Be careful, make sure that the x goes where x goes, y goes with y. It sounds obvious, but it's pretty easy to make that mistake. The m value is incredibly easy. Just plug in m, the slope where that is. Be careful with subtraction and negative signs. I highly recommend putting the original ones in parentheses when you substitute them, and then make any adjustments from there. All right, in part B, what is the equation of the line that passes through -4, 1, and 2, 3? So in part A, they gave us the slope and a point. In part B, they don't give us the slope, but they give us 2 points. So we can calculate the slope using the slope formula, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And my y values, I'm going to use 3. y1, I'm going to use 1. x1 and x2. Okay, so this is going to be x1, y1, x2, y2. So m is equal to 3 minus 1 over 2 minus -4. Be careful with your parentheses, be careful with your signs. So we have 3 minus 1 over 2 plus 4, which becomes 2 over 6, which gives us a slope of 1/3. So now that we have the slope, our m value is 1/3. Make sure to reduce that fraction. I'm going to use my point-slope form. Which remember is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. You have the choice here of using either point. It doesn't matter if I use this first point here or the second point, but the slope is obviously going to stay the same. So I have the choice. I can say y minus 3 I'm going to use that second point, equals 1/3 times x minus 2. So I'll highlight that so we know where those numbers come from. So I can use 0.2 and then just kind of clean that up. So y minus 3 and x minus 2. I apologize here, something wrong with the screen today. So this is a solution that's the equation in point slope form, or instead of using that point, I could have used the other point. So I could use, this is driving me crazy. I can use y minus 1, where I'm using this first point, equals 1/3 times x minus -4. All right, and again, we'll clean this up, but we'll highlight. So I'd have that 1 there and that -4. I could have used that. You don't need to do both of these. You can choose between them. Once again, it does not matter which point you pick. Both of those will be equations of the line that we were given based on the information. The only thing that you have to do is you have to make sure that you find the slope. Once you know what the slope is, then you have the choice of either 0.1 or 0.2. Doesn't make a difference. Let me label these. So this was 0.1, this was 0.2. In this case, this one I used 0.2. This one was using 0.1. Again, you have the choice. They are both correct.